This video is on the brand new KEF Q Series, featuring a complete update to their most affordable speaker line. Now in 2022, we reviewed our first KEF product, the LS60, a floor-standing powered speaker with just about every input that you could imagine, tons of technology packed inside, and an overall sweet and lively sound. Since then, we've also brought you reviews of many of their other powered speakers and passive speakers, including the R Series Meta, Blades, and even some home theater showcases with their impressive THX reference in-wall speakers. And while these speakers are all outstanding in their own applications and price points, they aren't what we would consider budget friendly. Now, for someone looking for a more affordable passive speaker option, but still wants the KEF technology and sound, their Q Series has been a massive success ever since it first launched in 1990. In typical KEF fashion, they have continued to update their Q Series by trickling down the technology found in their reference level speakers every few years. With the latest iteration being released in 2017, we are happy to see the 9th generation of their Q Series speakers get a full refresh with new models that feature the revolutionary Metamaterial Absorption Technology. Now, we were lucky enough to get our hands on a few of the models for an early look to review them for this video. First, we'll walk you through the features and technology that KEF has spent years developing. Then we will go over each model to help you decide which ones would be best for your 2-channel or home theater setup. And then, of course, if you still have more questions after this video, you can always reach out to our team of experts at audioadvice.com or stop by one of our award-winning showrooms just to give them a listen for yourself. Plus, if you want to be among the very first to get yours, you can pre-order them, or if you're watching at a later date, order them right now at audioadvice.com and get free shipping, lifetime support, and a price guarantee. Alright, now in the new Q Series lineup, KEF has included 8 new models, including 2 floor-standing speakers, 3 bookshelf speakers, a center channel, an Atmos speaker, and an on-wall speaker. Okay, now let's get into all the cool tech that KEF has developed that make these speakers sound just so good. First up is the addition of KEF's revolutionary sound absorption technology called Metamaterial Absorption Technology, or MAT for short. MAT was first implemented in their LS50 speaker in 2020 and then expanded to some of their high-end speakers like the Blades and R Series. And now, MAT has trickled down into all 8 new models in the Q Series for the very first time. MAT is essentially a maze-like structure with intricate channels that absorb a specific frequency, acting sort of like an acoustic black hole, absorbing 99% of the unwanted sound that comes from the rear of the tweeter. Now with MAT, it gives you a tweeter that measures far flatter and has a more natural and pure sound quality. And including MAT in the new Q Series speakers, it's a pretty big deal. Now, we visited the KEF USA facility back in 2022, and we were just so impressed with the dedication that the engineers and their entire team have to push the state-of-the-art of sound right to its limits. They have put a ton of time and effort into their research and development of all of their technology, and most recently, MAT. So it would make sense to see MAT in only their high-end speakers to justify the cost of developing it. However, again, in typical KEF fashion, they found a way to trickle down this tech into their more affordable Q Series lineup to give them an incredible sound that punches well above their weight. And another part of these Q Series speakers is the 12th generation Uni-Q driver array in each model. Once again, KEF has utilized their own in-house knowledge and state-of-the-art simulation and analysis tools to create a driver that pairs so much better for performance with the MAT. Now specifically, the conical waveguide that couples the tweeter dome to the metamaterial absorber has been specially designed for the driver based on its depth. Plus, they re-engineered the tweeter gap damper, which strategically places 2 rings of porous material to tame the resonances and imperfections, which will give the sound more clarity and detail. Now, in addition, they redesigned the entire tweeter motor system by increasing the rear chamber vent area behind the tweeter by 250% to allow more sound to reach the MAT, allowing it to be even more effective. And in the Q11, Q7, Q6, and Q Concerto, KEF has included a flexible decoupling chassis used in their flagship Blade and reference models. This works by decoupling the mid-range motor from the Uni-Q chassis, therefore dissipating its vibration before it can travel to the cabinet and add any unwanted coloration to the sound. This is all really super cool tech that to us just really brings these speakers to a whole new level. And by having the tweeter sitting inside the mid-bass driver, KEF gives you what mimics a point source, which many people consider speakers' holy grail. This is one of our favorite reasons that we love the Uni-Q driver tech so much, is its ability to eliminate what we call a sweet spot and disperse the sound evenly throughout the room for everyone to enjoy due to it being a single point source design. Okay, now to improve the bass performance, KEF has updated the floor standing models, one of the bookshelf models, and the center channel model from a 2.5-way design to a 3-way design. This lets the Uni-Q driver handle the high and mid-range frequencies and the newly designed bass driver to handle the low end. Anytime you can take away the low end duties from a tweeter or mid-range driver, you allow those drivers to perform better in the highs and mids, so this is a welcomed addition to not only get better bass, but also clearer mids and highs. Now the new bass driver design is a hybrid structure with a shallow concave aluminum skin atop a paper cone that gives it a stiffness to achieve piston-like movement for better punch and speed. Plus, the ported speakers have a flared port that was modeled after computational fluid dynamics, which minimizes turbulence and reduces chuffing for cleaner and more controlled bass in these speakers. Now the other really big upgrade is the new refined crossovers inside. KEF's engineering team actually took over 1,000 specific measurements of each model using a custom-built array of microphones inside an anechoic chamber located in the UK. Now, what this allowed them to learn was the acoustic interactions of each model and then design precise crossovers based on those measurements. This gives each model the best signal path optimization for the best possible performance. And although no one will ever see these crossovers, the fact that they went through this time-consuming and advanced process really just speaks to how dedicated they are to continually improving their speakers with each new line. One other really cool feature that they've improved was the area around the Uni-Q driver. The new area that KEF calls the shadow flare is essentially a smooth transition surface that acts as an extended waveguide for the tweeter. This means that the tweeter no longer has a line of sight to the cabinet edges, creating a shadow region where the potential for sound diffraction is at its highest. This new shadow flare region eliminates that diffraction, giving you even more clarity in your sound. They've included this on the Q11 floor standing speakers, the Q Concerto, and the Q6 center channel speaker, giving those a slightly better high frequency dispersion than the rest of the models. Alright, now that we've covered the new features and technology of the Q series, let's take a look at the 8 models in the lineup. Each model is available in satin black, satin white, or walnut, and has a detachable magnetic grille. In addition, each bookshelf model can be paired with their SQ1 floor stands in slate gray or mineral white. And the Q3 and Q1 Meta models have optional B2 wall brackets to allow you to mount them on a wall for more flexibility in the placement. And we have to say, we are really pleased with how KEF has set up this lineup of Q series speakers, allowing you to build an awesome 2-channel setup or a full Dolby Atmos home theater with on-wall and Atmos topper speakers. Plus, the detail that they put into the design of this entire lineup just really shows. They have a minimalist design that we think will blend in with most decor, but also just look really premium from afar and when you get up close to them. Okay, now the first model up is the Q11 Meta and Q7 Meta floor standing speakers, which replace the Q950 and Q750 from the previous generation. Both of these models are upgraded from being 2.5 to 3-way, with the new bass drivers inside giving them a huge advantage in the lower end. This has allowed KEF to give them smaller drivers for more accuracy and even more bass due to their design. Now the Q11 Meta stands 41.8 inches tall and features a 4-inch Uni-Q driver with matte and 3 6.5-inch bass woofers, while the Q7 Meta stands only 39.4 inches tall and has the same 4-inch Uni-Q driver with matte, but only 2 6.5-inch bass drivers. You also save about 3 inches in depth with the Q7 Metas, so if you do have a smaller space or want floor standing speakers instead of bookshelf units, these would probably be optimal for you. However, if you have an open concept space or just a larger room in general, the Q11s will help fill out that room much easier and provide you with a bit more bass. And plus, in our testing, we were really blown away with what the Q11s were capable of. So if you are able to stretch your budget just about $400 more, we would highly recommend going with the Q11s. Next up are the 3 bookshelf models, the Q Concerto Meta, the Q3 Meta, and the Q1 Meta. Let's start with the Q Concerto Meta, since that is a first for this lineup, and we think it's just so cool that KEF has included it. Now, back in 1969, KEF created their first three-way bookshelf speaker that brought professional high-performance speakers right into people's homes, making high fidelity even more accessible. Now, having a bookshelf speaker that is a three-way system means that you have three drivers and a crossover that separates the audio signals into three frequency bands, so each driver can handle their own frequencies that they are designed for. Now, in this case, the tweeter is in the Uni-Q driver. It handles the high frequencies, and the mid-frequency cone handles the mid-range, and the woofer below the Uni-Q driver can handle everything on the low end. So that's three different drivers. Now, this will allow for less movement in the mid-frequency cone, and the Uni-Q driver can focus on the mid and high frequencies where it really will perform best, ultimately giving you less distortion and a significant improvement in clarity and detail. And in honor of the very first KEF three-way speaker from 1969, they named the first ever three-way bookshelf speaker in the Q series the Q Concerto Meta. Now, they come in at 16.3 inches tall, so they're a little bit large for bookshelf speakers. Similar to the floor-standing models, they have a 4-inch Uni-Q driver with mat and one 6.5-inch bass woofer. Now, even though the Concertos are smaller and are bookshelf speakers, in our testing, even when directly compared to the Q11s, they produced a ton of bass and had the same incredible sound. These would be great for someone who just can't fit floor-standing speakers in their room, or just have a smaller space and don't really want to add a subwoofer to their system. However, when you do add a KEF subwoofer to the Concertos, you get an outstanding setup. The extra woofer handling the bass allows these bookshelf speakers to compete with models well above its price class. Now, next up are the Q3 and Q1 Meta bookshelf speakers. The Q3 features a 6.5-inch Uni-Q driver with mat, and the Q1 steps down to a 5.25-inch Uni-Q driver with mat. These are great entry-level bookshelf speakers for someone just getting into the world of high-quality audio separates, or they can serve as surround speakers in a home theater setup. Since all the models in this lineup have the same tech and Uni-Q drivers, the sound signature for immersive surround sound will be matched up, and the Q3 or Q1 will provide you with phenomenal speakers for your bed layer. And both can be used with their SQ1 stands or wall-mounted with their custom brackets to save even more space. Now, to round out the lineup, KEF has included a Q6 Meta center channel speaker, a Q8 Meta on-wall or Atmos speaker, and a Q4 Meta on-wall speaker. With these options, you can create a truly immersive and totally matched home theater system that has a seamless soundstage. Now, let's start with the center channel speaker. We all know just how important the dialogue is in movies. If you can't hear the characters' voices, it can make a film really difficult to watch. The Q6 Meta center channel speaker, as we said, has the same Uni-Q driver as the main speakers, so they pair up perfectly with the rest of the lineup. And they are also a three-way model with a 4-inch Uni-Q driver and two 6.5-inch bass woofers. This is similar to the Q Concerto model, but adds one more woofer and is a closed box speaker design. This allows you to fit them in a cabinet like many people do with their center channels. And another unique advantage of this is if you want to put your front, left, and right speakers in a cabinet or against a wall, instead of using a bookshelf model in the lineup, you could just use the Q6 Meta as your front, left, right, and center speakers. This gives you a ton of flexibility as the Q6 Meta can act as a really solid front, left, and right speaker in addition to being a center channel speaker. Now, in our testing, this center channel gave us a really clear dialogue in just about every movie that we watched. Pairing it up with the Q11, Q7, Q Concerto, or even two more Q6 models gave it a really solid front, left, right, and center speaker performance. All right, moving on. Many people designing a home theater today are adamant about making sure it can play back Dolby Atmos movies, and this is for good reason. Dolby Atmos can make a movie extremely fun and engaging to watch. It brings music and movies to life with surround effects swirling all around you. KEF included the Q8 Meta Atmos speaker, which is a two-way closed box design with a 5.25-inch Uni-Q driver with mat in the Q series lineup. Now, this speaker can be angled so that you can simply place it right on top of your front left and right speakers and bounce the sound up off your ceiling and back down to you for those height effects. Or you can mount them on the wall, angled down towards your listening position as your Atmos speakers. And now, the final model in the lineup is the Q4 Meta on-wall speaker, which is the first time KEF has included an on-wall model in the Q series lineup, and we couldn't be more excited. Like the Q8, the Q4 features a 5.25-inch Uni-Q driver with mat. However, this one is shaped like a rectangular box that will fit against your wall nicely with its slimmer design. And it's only 5.6 inches deep, so we think that this makes a really great surround speaker that you can attach to your wall that won't stick out too far and will take up no additional floor space. Now, in addition, it features a side-ported bass reflex port for a great low end in a very thin speaker. You could even use these as your front left, right, and center speakers if you want a very minimal setup with on-wall speakers against your flat panel TV. Now, we are super pleased to see KEF continuing to innovate and trickle down the technology that they spend countless hours developing down to the Q series speakers. We think that this entire lineup of speakers, especially now that they include their famous mat, will be very popular for someone who wants to build a powerful system for a very reasonable price. Now, if you do have more questions, check out audioadvice.com, where we have our free home theater design tool where you can actually plug in all your speakers, where your furniture is going to go, and everything else, and it will tell you exactly where to place your speakers and screen for the most optimal performance. And if you have more questions, you can always call or chat with any of our experts. Plus, you can stop by one of our award-winning showrooms and chat with any of our team there, and they can show you some home theater options or listen to any of these KEF speakers. And if you enjoyed this video and you like seeing exclusive reviews of brand new products that just launched, please give us a like, hit the subscribe button, and turn on the notifications so you don't miss out on any of our latest content, including reviews, tips and tricks, and home theater showcases, and so much more. Now, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.